Can you feel my heart tonight? Can you feel my soul? That's because we're playing Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That's right. We're going to play the perfect Pokemon game, the best around. Never gonna play a better one. Specifically when it comes to post-game. That's a claim that I feel like a lot of people make, is that Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver have perfect post-games and are perfect games. Today we are going to explore that concept. Subscribe if you like Pokemon as much as I do. Which is mostly. I love Pokemon. Get out of here. Come on. Come on. I love Pokemon. I've been playing it since I was a kid. I owned it on the Game Boy Color, and I used to play at YMCA camp. It's fun to stay at the YMCA and trade Pokemon with your friends through a link cable on Game Boy Color. I used to think that when you had the little Game Boy Colors, there was like that little knob on the top. It's not a knob. It's like a little patch, a little rectangular patch it looks like a, I don't know, like a tinted lens or something. I used to think that when you put two Game Boy Colors like against each other, you didn't need the link cable and you could just do like this infrared trading thing. Never worked. It didn't stop me from trying in my single digit ages. So anyways, that's just a fun little anecdote from back then. But it's just to show you that my roots with Pokemon go way back. And I was playing this thing back when it was a Game Boy Color game with Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Oh, I love Crystal. And actually, Crystal might... Let's hold that aside. I love Crystal. Let's just say that. Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I did own the Pokewalker, and I remember I used to tuck it like right under my hoodie and walk around school with that thing and calculate steps in order to, like look at my eggs or something. I don't fully remember, but then I felt kind of nerded out, so I stopped doing it. But I used to use the Pokewalker, and unfortunately I did have to sell my big box copy of Soul Silver. I did own it at one point, but I needed some money, and look at me now. I still need money, so here we are. That's not why I'm doing this video. I'm doing this video because I love Pokemon, regardless if this makes a sense or not. But we're going to talk about post-game specifically because that's really the topic I want to explore. Recently, I've been replaying Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I just finished the 8 badges in Soul Silver, and I picked up my file on Heart Gold, which I also had 8 badges in, and I've gotten all 16 badges at this point in the Kanto region. I've done a bit of leveling up trying to take on Blue in Mount Silver, and he whooped that ass. That Lapras, I do not have a solution for right now. He's got a level 80 Lapras, and it is destroying my team. But I'm working on it. And in the words of the Terminator, I was trying to think of something else he says. Besides, I'll be back. But I'll be back. I'm really supposed to save that for the end of the video. Whatever. Heart Gold and Soul Silver. What's going on in these post games? So here's what I remember. I remember the Game Boy Color versions more vividly, probably because I play those more often. I don't know. I play like the Virtual Console release on my 3DS. And I just remember going through Kanto and comparing it to Kanto in Gen 1 and always feeling that it was a little more empty than I'd like it to be. And I recently watched some dude's video and he's talking about how it's like depressing, like a lot of the areas you go to because they're just so drab. And I was like, yeah, that really resonates with me because that's how I felt for the longest time. And so I just kind of assumed it was the same for Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I can't tell. I know I played 2 of the post game in Heart Gold and Soul Silver and took on Blue and won. But it must have been like 15 years ago. I don't know. And so I just never really thought that deeply about it. I probably got there, beat Blue, and then just moved on with my life. And I've been playing it recently. I've got 40 hours logged, and I've just been impressed by a lot. I haven't been overly impressed. I don't think everything's like perfect by, any stretch, but I do think that it's mostly perfect. And so there's a couple of elements why. So this game released around the time of Diamond, Pearl, either before or after Platinum, I couldn't tell you. And as a result of that, they had to deal with that in this remake for some reason. So when you land in Kanto after beating the Elite Four, Professor Elm gives you the National Pokédex, which allows you to register Pokemon all the way up through Gen 4. And I think that's so awesome because it opens up trading and battling between the DS games in case like somebody owned, let's say, Pearl and then you owned Heart Gold. There's no restrictions in what you can trade or battle with. And that used to be a problem with Red, Blue, and Gold, Silver. It worked one way. Gold, Silver could receive and trade either way, but you couldn't do that necessarily back with Red and Blue because there were things that were not native to that dex at that time. And so this is actually really important as far as this post game goes because it's increased the lines of communication between cartridges. And it's also reshaped what Kanto looks like exactly. So as you're going through the post game and you're battling trainers and you're battling gym leaders and you're even rebattling the Elite Four, a lot of them have integrated Sinnoh or Hoenn Pokemon into their teams. And it's kind of striking. I can't think of like specific examples with the gym leaders, but the Elite Four is a little bit clearer on my mind. So I know with like Will, he opens with a Bronzong. And then for Bruno, he has a Hariyama. Where's that coming from? Don't know, but I like it. I like the fact that they have re-envisioned what the region looks like, so it's not just the same post game that you've played before. And it actually scales up a little more nicely. So when I used to play Crystal, Gold, Silver, and get to the point where I'd be replaying the Elite Four, I'd just be playing the same Elite Four up to level 40 and 50 and have to scale my team up for the Red and Blue battle on Mount Silver, where he still has like 80s and 88s. And the gaps are just so striking in that Game Boy version. And in this one, now the Elite Four's minimum is level 58. All the way up to like 75. It's no slouch. And they all have 6 Pokemon. And you have to relearn their team. So I think that's super cool. And it gives me more time and the more time to gain experience for my team. I want to say more time to get experience or more experiences, I guess. They've increased the amount of experiences in the game. Another one, for instance, the reintegration of legendaries from Gen 1. So there was a very obvious lack of Kanto in the Kantos in the Game Boy Color version because in previous areas where you would have caught, let's say, Moltres and Victory Road, or you would have caught Zapdos in the power plant, those areas are now filled in the color versions. But in the DS versions, they actually bring them back. I was shocked to see a stairwell in Blaine's gym where I could just go down and go into the Seafoam Islands and go catch an Articuno. I was like, what? That was a thing? I had no idea. They even brought back Cerulean Cave. So that's really awesome. I do need to go explore that a little bit. That might be good training grounds for me. And so I think that brings a bit more of the legacy and the life of Kanto back. It's not 100%, but it's back. And that's appreciable. It's not like it's butchered out. A couple things are still missing. Like, I think of the Pewter City Museum where you could go resurrect fossils. I know you can go do that somewhere else. I don't remember where at this point. But I think like the absence of those in Kanto is still felt to some extent. But they tried. So Fuchsia City is another one. That's where the Safari Zone used to be. And when you played it in Gold and Silver, that area would just be dead. There'd be nothing. It's just like, sorry, we moved. We're out of business. Bye. And in this one, they added some park. I guess it's Fuchsia Park. I don't know the name. But you can put in your Game Boy Advance cartridge into your DS and transfer specific Pokemon that you like up to Heart Gold and Soul Silver and add them to your game. And, some people might say, oh, that's a novelty. Yeah, sure. You can add Pokemon from the previous games. But no, there's actually a competitive element to that. Well, one is actually filling your national decks. I mean, I guess you could do this other ways, like by transferring from like platinum and diamond and pearl, whatever, but it is useful as far as filling your national decks, and then also for team building. So why would you care about team building other than the Mount Silver battle or the scaled up Elite Four? Well, because there's a Battle Frontier now as well. So I don't think there was a Battle Frontier in the Game Boy Color version, so I was really happy to see that. I used to think the thing was just generic, but I actually started dabbling in it this time, and there's some decent challenges where you can enter either like a team of 3 Pokemon, or you can enter one Pokemon into like a challenge against all different types and scale up with the levels, and it's basically survival of the fittest. How many rounds can you survive? And there's one more I haven't dabbled in, but the Battle Frontier is actually developed. There is something going on there. It's not as good as Pokemon Emeralds. I used to spend a lot of time in Pokemon Emeralds and, be team building and trying to enter Pokemon into that thing. And sadly, I don't have a great way to play Game Boy Advance at this time, so I don't. But if I did, I would be playing Pokemon Emeralds Battle Frontier. But since I'm not, I'm actually enjoying this one and putting in Pokemon that I really love. Like my Gyarados, goddamn. Goddamn, he's killing it. He's like 20, he's on a 20 streak right now as far as the typings go. And the Dragon Dance and then physical attack combo is just unbeatable. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Favorite Pokemon, maybe. I'm still figuring that out. But I think that this is a perfectly perfect remake and has a pretty perfect post game. And I don't think modern Pokemon games have held a candle to this standard since at least Gen 5. The standard that has been met since, and I don't want to go too tangential here, is great for like Wi-Fi battles and communications that way, but I think that's the gimmick in the future Pokemon games. Whereas in the previous Pokemon games, in that nice little mid area from like Emerald through maybe Black White, I don't know yet, but at least Gen 4, all of it's within the game. And the Wi-Fi is like a nice touch, but everything you need is there in that game. And so like when thinking about Pokemon X and Y today, and that's, what it means today to play it, you would need to homebrew your system in order to be able to play online with anyone. And even then, who's all going to do that? I don't know. I'd rather just be playing Pokemon Battle Revolution at that point. So I'm having a blast and I'm not done. And the fact that I'm 40 hours in and not done is a good sign. So next up, I'm going to just push it in the Battle Frontier. I'm going to beat Blue in Mount Silver. I'm trying to find a solution for his Lapras. I don't have it yet, but my team will be strong enough, and I'm rooting for Ampharos. I think a couple more level ups, and he'll be all right for that. And I'll be back, in the words of Arnold. So there you go. There you have it. It's been a blast. And, well, I don't have another Arnold quote. I do have, They Live. I'm here to take names and bubblegum. I'm here to chew bubblegum and take I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum. I got this. I'm here to kick ass in Pokemon and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of bubblegum. See you in the next one.